Hello everyone, welcome to LY5 Elements. I'm Arvin and I'm glad you are here. My goal is to teach you how to read Bazi in the simplest way possible so you can understand your own life path. Let's unlock the secrets of your destiny together. In our last lesson, we learned about the first inauspicious god, 7 killings. Today we will talk about the second one, indirect resource. I will be breaking it down in the simplest way possible so everyone can follow along. If anything is unclear, feel free to drop a comment below. I would love to discuss and explore these topics with you. And for those of you who want to understand your Bazi chart but find the learning process too complicated, you can always message me for a one-on-one consultation. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support truly motivates me to keep sharing this knowledge. Let's dive into Bazi together. Because indirect resource carries an element of harshness, the ancients referred to it as Xiao Shen, commonly shortened to Xiao. In Bazi chart, when you see the Chinese character Pian or Xiao Shen, or only character Xiao, it refers to indirect resource in English. How is indirect resource formed? We covered this in a lesson on direct resource, so let's take a moment to review it. Let's start with the concept that the day master represents yourself. Those who produces me are called direct resource and indirect resource. When yang generates yin for me and yin generates yang for me, both of which are considered direct resource. When yang generates yang for me or yin generates yin for me, we have the indirect resource or simply xiao. Let's take Ren water as an example. Ren water is yang water and metal generates water. Geng metal is yang metal. So Geng metal generates Ren, water, making Geng metal the indirect resource for a Ren water day master. I have listed out the indirect resource for each day master here for you to reference. Indirect resource in Bazi represents unconventional thinking, intuition, and indirect support or resources. It represents a depressed star. It refers to a state of frustration or unhappiness. People with indirect resource in their chart often experience feelings of dissatisfaction or unhappiness. Their personality in a negative sense tends to be sensitive, with a deep inner loneliness or an unhappiness. They may be indecisive, hesitant, and struggle with social interactions. They prefer solitude and would rather be alone than be in crowded places. However, sometimes indirect resource can be favorable. If the person is weak in their chart, indirect resource becomes a useful element. It also has positive traits such as sharp observation, analytical skills, and sensitivity. People with indirect resource can sense others' inner thoughts and have strong comprehension abilities, enabling them to quickly grasp difficult concepts. Additionally, they are often multi-talented and have delicate, thoughtful minds. People with indirect resource have a special talent for learning metaphysics. While anyone can study the I Ching and the Bagua, those with indirect resource tend to learn it quickly and with great flexibility. After mastering the material, they are able to apply it creatively and think outside the box. People with indirect resource in their chart will often experience unhappiness, and it represents a sense of dissatisfaction or unhappiness. Career choices for those with indirect resource include research, public representation, invention, design, creativity, technology, martial arts, performing arts, marketing, direct sales, advertising, modeling, and other related fields. Figures represented by indirect resource include strategists, advisors, and counselors. It symbolizes a man's grandfather and a woman's mother. Whenever the stems and branches include indirect resource, the person tends to learn technical skills. However, if indirect resource appears in the month pillar, it indicates that the person will have a significant skill or expertise. For example, if it's in the year pillar, you might deduce that in their childhood, They experience something like painting, music, or dance, developing a technical specialty. But when it appears in the month pillar, it guarantees the person has a solid skill that they can rely on throughout their life, ensuring they will be financially stable and self-sufficient. Secondly, when indirect resource appears in a Bazi chart, you can immediately infer that the person feels unhappy, particularly due to conflict with the eating god, as indirect resource overcomes the eating god. The positions of indirect resource and eating god create opposition, indicating personality clashes between two people. For instance, a friend of mine came for a reading, and I directly told him that his mother and wife didn't get along. He asked how I knew that. It was because in his chart, the day branch representing his spouse contained indirect resource, while his mother's position in the year branch had the eating god. The day branch represents the spouse palace, and the year branch represents the mother. This causes the indirect resource to suppress the eating god, leading to personality conflict. He confirmed that this was true. His mother and wife couldn't get along and would always argue when they met. We can apply these concepts flexibly in practice. When there's an excess of indirect resource, it can indicate that a person has psychic abilities, able to see spirits or things that most people can't. Some people don't believe in ghosts, possibly because they don't have indirect resource in their chart. But for those with several indirect resource elements, if you ask them, they might tell you they have had psychic experiences since childhood and can see things that others can't. Indirect resource represents sharp observation, the ability to sense even the smallest changes. The heightened sensitivity allows them to perceive things that others don't, which is why people with an abundance of indirect resource are more likely to encounter these supernatural experiences. Fourth, if a person's party chart only has the eating god without indirect resource, they will feel unhappy when they encounter indirect resource during luck pillars or annual cycles. As we mentioned, indirect resource suppresses the eating god. What does this mean? The eating god represents our blessings, everything we enjoy like food, fun, and leisure. But indirect resource specifically overcomes the eating god. So if someone's past chart lacks indirect resource and only has the eating god, when they encounter indirect resource during a luck or annual cycle, it creates a conflict. This often results in them feeling like something is being taken from them, leading to unhappiness. Conversely, if a person's party chart has only indirect resource and no eating god, they will also feel unhappy when they encounter the eating god during luck pillars or annual cycles, as their blessings and fortune may feel taken away. Sixth, everyone has a bit of nervous disorder, but the frequency and intensity of episodes vary from person to person. Based on my own observations, I categorize this into several levels. At the lower level, is mild with symptoms like delusion, suspicion, unease, false alarms, and anxiety. The moderate level includes depression, confusion about life, questioning the meaning of existence, lack of direction, and mild contradictions or a split consciousness. At the severe level, people experience insomnia, hallucinations, intense fear, strong internal conflict, and even thoughts of suicide. Then there's the extreme level, where all of the above are present, along with violent impulses and harmful behavior towards others. If a person's chart includes these traits and they encounter the seven killings, things can become very serious. As mentioned earlier, seven killings is like a weapon, and when it helps indirect resource, it intensifies its power, creating dangerous situations. Sometimes when someone loses control of their emotions and acts out violently, it's because the stars align in such a way that they lose control. They suddenly become uncontrollably angry and even attack others. This is what we call being possessed. When an episode passes and you ask them what happened, they won't know because it wasn't really them in that moment. The stars, especially when indirect resource is overwhelming and 7 killings boost its power, cause such an emotional instability. Everyone experiences this to some extent, but the severity and frequency differ. Some people can control their emotions well and rarely experience this, while others might face it more often, sometimes to the point of needing treatment in a psychiatric hospital. Seventh, if a person's chart lacks indirect resource, they tend to overlook details. Indirect resource represents sharp observation of the smallest details. Without it, their analytical abilities may be weaker, and they might struggle to sense or understand the feelings of others. Let's give an example of indirect resource for everyone. Let's look at this example of indirect resource in a Bazi chart. In this case, indirect resource sits on the day branch, which represents the spouse palace. From this, we can make a few predictions. First, we can predict that his wife has a very detailed and meticulous mind. Additionally, we can infer that his wife might work in a field related to sound or music. Because we learned in the lesson on the 12 earthly branches that the character, Yo, also represents the rooster. The day branch contains the rooster, which is very sensitive to sound. The rooster crows in the morning, and the hen makes noise after laying eggs. Therefore, people with the Yo in their chart tend to be very sensitive to sound, and this also applies to his wife, who may have worked or studied something related to sound. However, this indirect resource placement isn't ideal as it sits in the spouse palace. This suggests that he and his wife might not have a very happy relationship. Remember, wherever indirect resource sits, that's where disharmony is likely to occur. Fortunately, there is no eating god in this chart. If there were, the indirect resource would conflict with the eating god, making things even worse. But as it stands, the conflict occurs between the day master and the indirect resource. This results in a relationship where they both may harbor unhappiness and unresolved tensions. From this indirect resource, we can make 3 predictions. His wife has a detailed mind, she may be involved in a career related to sound, and there is tension or unhappiness between them. Today, we learned about indirect resource and the things it represents. In the next lesson, we will introduce another of the inauspicious god, hurting officer. Don't miss out, hit subscribe and share to join us on this incredible journey of discovery. Your support fuels our passion to keep creating. Any questions or need personalized guidance? Leave us a comment or get in touch. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for being part of the LY5Elements family. If anything is unclear, feel free to drop a comment below. I would love to discuss and explore these topics with you. And for those of you who want to understand your Bazi chart but find the learning process too complicated, you can always message me for a one-on-one consultation. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support truly motivates me to keep sharing this knowledge. See you in the next lesson.